Factory's here and factory's there. Oh look, another factory over there. Alright, I'm coming. So today we're going to do a tour of my new factory. To start with, we now have a very small production of the aluminium castings just to help us get some blenders in to make sure nuclear power stays running whilst we're updating everything for update 4. Nothing has changed here yet in the aluminium factory other than the fact that Petroleum Coke is coming in to make the aluminium scrap. That is only temporary. I have now decided to change to the new recipe using the blender so that there are less machines within the factory producing the same product and amount. So let's head off down to the new factory I created. You'll see some of the railway network along the way. There will be a future video on the railway network. I didn't get it finished in time when I released the other tours, but it's almost there. There's only roughly a kilometre of bridge left to build, so I'm expecting that to come out within the next week or so. So we're just travelling down the new bridge down towards the Crater Lake. This factory produces petroleum coke, fuel and containers for packaging at this stage only. So we arrive here at the control hub. We have an awesome sink for all the overflowing items. We have a primary switch to cut off the petroleum coke, which is the most power hungry area of the factory. We also have lighting control for all the new lighting on the ceiling. We have fuel control, so these refineries you can see here, these 6, and we also have factory power. Factory power will turn off every machine in the factory except for these 6 refineries. As usual, we have a workbench, a craft bench, a MAM, a shop, some storage containers housing equipment that you might need when you're out in the world. I don't use this when I'm in the factory building. This is just in case I die somewhere out in the world. If this is the location that I so happen to need to be in or be at, I can get equipment. Same with this one, there's a bit of fuel, jetpacks, etc. These containers contain all of the leftover building supplies. We have 3 train stations in at the moment and space for 1 more. 2 are doing petroleum coke. 1 is going to the nuclear facility to help make petroleum coke steel ingots using an alternative recipe. The other is heading up to the aluminium factory with petroleum coke to help make the aluminium scrap. And the other is heading up to the aluminium factory carrying containers to package all the excess water from refineries. Out through this wall here, we have all of the power stations that power this factory. This factory is independently powered as it supplies resources required to create energy for the rest of the world, so the nuclear power stations. it creates enough power to power this facility at full production. Just here we have the Petroleum Coke. So in total there are 12 refineries on Petroleum Coke. There are 6 at the back doing the heavy oil residue, and they are piped directly into the refinery in front of them that are making the Petroleum Coke. These 3 here and the 3 behind them are overclocked to make sure that there is enough Petroleum Coke heading to the nuclear facility. Down here we have plastics and containers. These 3 refineries here and the 2 you can see over there are all making plastic. These refineries are cut this section. So these 3 refineries are making this one making plastic, but it has no. What the frick is going on here? What's this one making? Heavy oil residue. And this one? Petroleum Coke. Okay. This refinery is making Petroleum Coke in addition to the 6 behind. This one is making residual oil and also outputting polymer resin to help boost the plastic production. And this one here is making plastic. We have 4 constructors here turning the plastic into containers, which are stored here and then sent under the floor to the train station to head to the aluminium factory. Polymer resin is also stored here for these 2 refineries making plastic. Through here we have 2 coal generators. These coal generators were used to power the refineries whilst making enough fuel to start putting in the fuel power station section. Out through the wall on this side we have the coal coming in for the coal power stations, and we also have an emergency battery backup system. There is a total of 600 megawatts here, fully charged and ready to go by a flick of a switch. These batteries will power the coal power stations, the water pumps and the miner over there, whilst we're getting fuel production back online if it were to drop. I'll just quickly drop down underneath here. Underneath here we house all of the electrical wiring and logistics. So we have the water pipes here for plastic production and the coal power stations. The wires running along the wall, allowing power to be independent from places that need permanent power and places that can be switched off. We also have a logistics network for petroleum coke and residue. So you can see petroleum coke and residue travel around the belt. Residue goes into this container, splits off here into the refineries, and also over there. And here we have logistical splitting for petroleum coke. So you can see the overflow here and here, travels that direction and goes off to the awesome sink. A lot of it is going to the awesome sink now, as the nuclear facility is fully stocked and it no longer requires any resources until I start connecting more nuclear power stations. And here we just have the belt carrying the containers, the petroleum coke above to the train station. Another storage box over here with polymer resin. This is where the oil comes in from the world. There is a splitter in the wall here that sends it up to the fuel production above, and also sends it around the wall here to the petroleum coke section over there. This is the main conduit for power also. So in the wall houses all of the power cables for all the switches and lighting, and comes out here and just travels along the wall. This is the access area for the logistics. To show you the outside area. So we have our outside area down here. We have one overclocked oil extractor there, another one next to it, all coming into a Mark II pipe, connecting with another overclocked oil extractor here, and coming into the factory just here. And we have over there set up just pipes and power cable for the oil extraction process in the cave there for future use. Just take you upstairs to the train station above so you can get a view of the factory from up there. So the train station above is fed by 3 conduit shafts. And the ladder just here takes you up. So as I said before, we have a empty space for a future train. I'm sure there will be a lot more things needing to be produced. We have the capability of going higher if we need to. So this is just a view of the factory from above. working away, doing its thing. Just a bit of a view from outside here on the balcony to see the trains coming going, the hypertube network. You can see the aluminium factory off there in the distance. Not too much to see around this side. At this stage in the game, my next process is to now check on one power facility and upgrade it if needed. And then after that, I will be upgrading the aluminium factory so that the scrap is made in the blender, reducing the requirements for space in there, and turning any empty space into production for items to create the higher tiers, so that I can start unlocking things like the hover pack, so you can see here we have extended legs going out. Originally I only had one. That was to bring the Dargos I had found in the local area up into the factory. But instead of dismantling it, I kinda liked it, so I thought I'd put some extra legs on. Just for aesthetics, that's all, they don't do anything else. Each one also has a light on it that shines white. It just beams down the leg a little bit at night time, giving it that extra look. You'll see that shortly once the sun has finished setting. There is still quite a large amount of resources that can be connected to in this crater. All I am connected to down here, other than 3 of the oil nodes, is the coal right here. So we still have more coal, we still have limestone, iron ore, and copper. And I have noticed too, underneath the factory here, it's no longer SAM ore, it's now just an iron node. A little tiny rock in the middle of the lake in update 3.5. It used to be SAM, but it's now just iron. I don't know if they've changed what they want to do with SAM ore in the future, if they won't need as much, but they've removed it from this area. Okay, the sun has set enough, so now we can do a nighttime view of the factory with all the lights on. So we have the lights out here on the legs that I had said before, shining down on the factory. Just fly over here so that you can see it a little bit from a distance. Unfortunately, the render view doesn't go far enough to see the entire factory lit up, but it gives you an idea. Just park ourselves on this limestone node here. So here you can see the factory and the light coming down the legs at night time. Doesn't look as impressive as I had hoped, but still I kinda like it. It makes it a bit different from my other factories. It has definitely reduced my frame rate in the game, but I expected that. Lighting has always been an issue for this game, and this is the only factory so far that I have lights in. So you can see the lighting here. This lighting is only set to 10% intensity, so not all of the factory is lit up. When I turn the intensity up, it's definitely completely lit. Plus it gives it an interesting look, I think. There are scenes from movies from the 80s that I remember that you might have seen with the Raiders of the Lost Ark, having a massive storage area, a warehouse, with lights coming down off the ceiling, just lighting up sections along as they were moving the Ark into its final storage. As you can see the lights just coming around. There are no lights above the train stations, just at the back there. So you can see without the intensity up, some areas are still quite dark. But I think it does, yes, definitely gives it that interesting look. We have a purple light over the awesome sink. But here I can turn the light intensity. That was interesting. That's on 100%, but it should have been on 10%. So if I put that back down on 10%, that'll mean the factory's actually a lot darker. Yes, giving it that even more interesting look. Yes. Okay, so I have experimented with lights also on the train bridge. It didn't work out as well as I'd hoped because of the light rendering distance. I'm sure there might be a way to increase the light rendering distance, but because it has such an impact on performance, I won't be doing that. So we'll just jump in the hypertube and we'll ride it back up the bridge to the aluminium factory. As you can see, the lights lighting it up as we go, and as we leave the area you'll see the frame rate increase. Unfortunately you can only see the purple lighting as you pass the area, especially once we pass this point. The lights here are facing straight down, so it's only lighting up directly below it. That helped increase performance in some of the areas, but you can't see that lighting as well as I would have liked it to have been seen. So unfortunately we've already hit morning, so you can't see the entire bridge network lit up. But that is the tour of this factory. I hope you enjoyed it. There is a lot more to come. I've just put in my first drone, so I will be doing a video on drones in the future. And my nuclear storage barrel, where all my nuclear waste is stored, you can see off in the distance there, will be getting a makeover very soon. I have plenty of ideas in mind for it, and there will be a video on that. please consider subscribing, liking, and hitting the notification bell for my future videos. And until next time, I'll see you later.